episode 10 of Trapped in My Mind. I'm your host, Seth, and today with me, I have Grant Webb.
Hello, everyone.
Grant, I appreciate you for reaching out. As you said when you walked in here, we haven't really ever talked. We've gone to school in what? Elementary through high school?
Yeah, I think so.
Did you go to Hayes?
For which grade?
K through 4th.
No. I was at
Did you go to Cooper?
Mills. I was at Cooper, upper elementary.
But in Naked Mills, you came to Hayes for 4th grade.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Wow, it's been that long.
Yep. So I've known you for a while, but we never ran with the same crowds, right?
No. Yeah.
Glad you reached out. Question I always kind of ask people who I don't know as well, what made you want to reach out?
What made me want to reach out to you and your podcast specifically is what you were doing with your podcast. Just having like difficult conversations kind of and talking about mental health, which is something I'm very passionate about. I think in a different way than most people. And you gave me the opportunity right away to like have a discussion and then ended up here.
Well, I'm happy you're here. People like when we just get right into it, and so I'm going to do that. One of the things you want to talk about was the whole idea of, well, not idea, because you are a cop, right? You're a police officer now. You've been one for about a year.
Yep. Yesterday is my anniversary of a whole year as a cop.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
I know it's probably a very strange time to be a cop, so I guess the first question I'd ask is, why did you want to become a police officer?
Well, everyone tells me, when I tell everyone that I'm shocked that I've been a cop for a year, they ask me why. Because they tell me that since I've been however old that I've always wanted to be a cop. Even in 4th grade, I've always they've just intrigued me. I never really watched cops and all that, but like, I always wanted to be in that car going lights and sirens to help someone out. I've always just wanted to be in that mix, in that mess, that active shooter situation. I've always wanted to be like in there, like, not because it's cool and tactical and all that, but because you're helping people that need help at that time. Mm-hmm. And that's just something that's always just appealed to me, I guess.
And so that's from a young age, is the idea of helping people?
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. And I think, in my opinion, and let me know if you think that some people want to be a cop for these reasons. To me, I think there's 3 reasons. There's the good reason, which are the good cops. They want to help people. Mm-hmm. They at any cost, they want to help people.
Absolutely.
Those cops, hats off, because you're brave for doing that. And then I think there's also a group of people who they don't know what they want to do, and they know that cops are always needed. I can get into it, so I'm going to just go ahead and do that, which are just okay cops, right? And then you have the worst of the worst, who are people who never had power growing up, and they want the power hungry. So they want power over you. They want to control what they're allowed to do. They want different rights, so to say. Yeah. Do you think that it all exists?
I think you're absolutely correct. Okay. Absolutely correct, because I've seen all 3 of those.
Hands-on, like in person?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. From my department to other departments to just people's perspective to my perspective. Because I've seen all those 3 and I've gone through all those 3 emotions. Dead serious. And as a cop, if you don't think about those things, and like, it can be very easy as a cop to go from a positive mindset to a negative mindset. Because of all the things that you see and deal with on a daily basis, it is easy to go, well, that person keeps overdosing, so like, why am I going to keep reviving them? Mm-hmm. And that's a whole topic we can get into later. And then you start responding slower maybe to those calls of people like overdosing that need that Narcan at that minute. So that's that positive attitude that can turn into like a negative attitude. And also there's the tickets that people think that they get and we get money from, which I don't get any money from it.
Like speeding tickets?
Yeah, exactly. And
I'm
not a big ticket person. I write mostly impeding traffic for everyone. It's no points. It's basically a slap on the wrist for most people. But people think we get the money from that, which if you're ethical, you don't. My department, you don't pay for it on the side of the road, which I think is absolutely insane for some that do. I don't like handling money at all at work. Mm-hmm. I don't like it because I don't want to be accused of anything. It's not why I got into this job. But then there are corruption. There is corruption. Yeah. 100% corruption.
As I think there is in any job.
Absolutely.
It's just people hold police to a higher standard because their job comes with more power.
Yeah. No. I would call it power, call it integrity, call it respect, call it whatever you want. You're absolutely right. Because from the public's eye, you are that, like, that savior, that person that they call when no one else can help them. You're
supposed to be.
Exactly. Absolutely. And when you do something to not gain their trust, because I can't think of the right word.
Like as a citizen, if you do something to not...
As a cop, if you do something to a citizen or around a citizen, for example, we are underneath the law allowed to not wear our seatbelts, and people think, why do you get to not wear your seatbelt?
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I interpret that, I say that's dumb. I'm wearing my seatbelt because you're supposed to wear your seatbelt.
Mm-hmm.
And first of all, it's more safer. Why am I not going to wear my seatbelt?
Especially if you're going at high speeds.
Exactly.
Like in a chase.
And most people that I know don't wear their seatbelts because they're the cops and they don't have to. That's just one little example. Like when I'm at a stoplight, and people look over at me, okay, that cop's playing on his computer. That cop's doesn't have a seatbelt on. And then people think to themselves, at least in my opinion, why doesn't he have a seatbelt on? He would give me a ticket for that. Why is he on his computer? I can't be texting and all this stuff.
Why is he speeding?
Exactly.
I go 5 over, get a ticket. He's going like 15 over.
Exactly, though. But you're absolutely right. So I try to mitigate those things personally. I wear my seatbelt because it's safer and because I don't think that I'm above anything. And why should I enforce it on others when I don't have to?
Yeah, it's kind of hypocritical.
Exactly.
The cops that don't do that.
Absolutely. And again, underneath the law, we are exempt from that. So we have the legal authority not to.
Mm-hmm.
And we are also the same with computer and like electronic devices. We are exempt from that because we have to be able to read our computer, run plates, respond to calls, and read all that kind of stuff. It's not easy. They don't teach you any easy tricks in the academy or anywhere else on how to like read and drive 70 to 35 at going lights and sirens with your adrenaline pumping. They don't teach you how to do that. That's just something you have to learn.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm around the public's eye and when I'm not, I try to always keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm kind of getting off on a tangent from your 3 points, but...
No, I think you're summarizing it well. I think where the main issue, and I can't speak for all of America, but from what I've gathered, it seems like there's 3 issues. Police abusing their powers in that sense is one of them, but that's not what I think most people are pissed off about. I think the majority of it is police can do something that a normal citizen couldn't and get off easier. Like, for example, if this is extreme, right? But this happens. Mm-hmm. If I shot somebody, and I get found guilty, I'm fucked. I'm going to jail.
Absolutely.
Not all the time, but if a cop does it, they might just be, fired, or not even fired, just, like, suspended.
Yeah.
So I think the fact that they're not held to the same standard and doing that pisses people off, but I also see the other side of, okay, well, we're also going into dangerous situations, not knowing what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. How do you want us to react? But I think it's when they're under the public eye and they do something like, for example, again, it's extreme, but it happened. The George Floyd case. Mm-hmm. Situations like that where despite the race, whether it's white, black, anything in between, when they are found to be doing something that that person's clearly not a threat, why are you still apprehending them in the way that you are in a violent manner?
Absolutely.
And the fact that that's not a huge outrage to the police department itself is concerning to other people. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I'll give you kind of an example of what you're talking about that I've had to deal with personally that surprised myself. There are a lot of times that we can abuse our power. Not saying legally, but that we get so angry and frustrated in the moment that, like, we could. So I'll give you kind of an example. I was out patrolling one day, and I saw this, it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock. So, like, no one really is supposed to be out, and we have a Burger King and a McDonald's in my city that I work for. There's people running back and forth between it. I'm like, okay, well, both of those are closed because of COVID, and, like, they're not open after hours. So I was like, all right, I'll go watch them from afar. And I see them run back over from the McDonald's to the Burger King and start banging on the drive-thru window. I'm like, actually, I see 2 of them, and I only see 1 come over to the window. And I was like, all right, I'll just go up there and tell them, like, hey, just get out of here, like, they're closed. No big deal. So I pull up to him. I was like, hey, what's going on? And I hear the person inside yell that we're closed. Okay, cool. Hey, they're closed. This person starts walking closer to me, and I can smell that they're drunk. Well, intoxicated. I can smell the alcohol in their breath. I could tell the person was very young. No reason that I could tell. It just, you look at someone like, okay, you look like maybe you shouldn't be drinking.
Yeah.
So now I'm investigating. How old are you? I'm 16. Okay, you're mine now. Let's have a conversation. Let's come over here. I call it out. The supervisor comes over there, and we find out, I think it was a guy, 16 years old, drunk, can't really take you for anything. At this point, we need to see what your blood alcohol is to make sure you're medically safe. Because if you're above 0.3, our policy indicates that we need to take you to the hospital because you could pass out alcohol poisoning and all that. So we get mom over there. Mom's in the process. We cut her MIP or something like that, something small, and try to get him out of there. Well, then he starts nutting up on us, basically. He starts screaming and yelling, and the ticket was like $200 some or something like that, and he had $200 on him, and he thought that we were charging him exactly the same amount that he had on him because that's just what he had on him. Freaking out on us, and we were trying to give him all the opportunities, just get in the car and just leave, just get in the car, just leave, screaming at the top of his lungs. And then eventually he starts smacking the patrol car. Okay, now things are starting to escalate just a little bit. We're not going hands on at this point because there's no reason to. It's 16-year-old juvenile. But then my partner walks over to the other side of him, and I'm on the other side, left, right side. And then he turns around, and it looks like, and she's threatened, the officer, because he starts going through my partner's throat. So it's game on at this point. You're going, I don't care, how old are you? So it's me, my supervisor, and her, my partner that got almost choked out.
So there's 3 cops there?
3 cops. The juvenile lunged at my partner's throat.
Yeah.
Didn't get to her, but at this point we have to you're out of control. You're going absolutely crazy. So we start going hands on. We're trying to cuff her up just to get her to calm down. Basically, we call for rescue at this point because it's obviously a medical emergency. It's not a threat to us. But at this point, when we're taking someone into an emergency custody protection, we can't just let people go. So, anyways, we're fighting with him for a while, just trying to get her under control, and nothing crazy, just soft hand techniques. Which is just trying to get hands behind back and stuff like that. No punches, no kicks, nothing like that. Well, somehow we end up pinned up against a patrol car. We end up rolling on the ground a little bit, and we end up with me on my back and him on top of me, and I'm trying to get the hands behind the back again. So we eventually get him cuffed up, just sitting on the sidewalk waiting for rescue. I know this is a long story, but it's leading up to a good point. She eventually, as I'm checking the handcuffs, lunges back and I don't know why I keep saying she, lunges back and knocks me on my back again. So we pick her up, eventually 4-pointer, which I've got one leg, Sarge's got one leg, and now another cop shows up, and they got her held down. He's just flaring and flaring and flaring, and then spits right in my face. Mind you, all of our body cameras have fallen off at this point because they don't stay on during all these fights. They just don't.
What are they clipped on with?
There's just magnets that are very weak. There's clips. There's magnets. That's all we have. And one little hit, and it's just coming off.
Oh, okay.
So that's another flaw in itself. Spits right in my face. Luckily, I had a mask on. All on my glasses. All over my mask.
Oh, I'd be pissed.
I actually handled it a lot better than I thought I did. I wasn't as angry as I thought I was going to be. And I don't know why still. But I could have taken that opportunity to do something awful.
Yeah.
But I knew to myself, this person, first of all, juvenile, handcuffed, 4-pointed. What am I going to do that's justifiable to this person when they're already restrained, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's my one example of I had the opportunity to abuse my power, so to say, but I didn't. And I don't want to say I don't know why I didn't, because that's just not right. So why would I do that? This 4-pointed, handcuffed, there's nothing I could do besides take it.
Yeah, no, and I think
You know what I mean?
I think cops like yourself aren't the problem.
Right.
In fact, you're part of the solution. But too many times, again, things you see on the media, you never know if you saw just 10% of what happened or if you saw all of it.
Absolutely.
But the cops that do abuse that power, and maybe they didn't like getting spit in the face, so they punched them, right? Or beat the piss out of them, right? It's the police officers like that I think cause such an outrage because how are they going to get punished? They're probably not. Or if they are, it's not nearly as much as if I did that to somebody. I'm going to get punished way worse. And I think that's, at least for me, that's the part that I struggle on of like, yo, I understand you deal with a lot more shit that puts you in situations to where you're going to need to defend yourself. Mm-hmm. But when somebody's already, like someone's not a threat anymore and you keep pushing, that's where I have a serious problem. And
I completely agree.
I get that there's outliers and there's people that do that, and there's a lot of people. There's probably mostly cops who don't do that, right? Mm-hmm. But the ones who do it, they need to be punished as such. Especially, I don't understand like from a media perspective and all of the pressure for these police departments. Everything's broadcasted now. Absolutely. If you have a police officer who acts out in such a way, you should come down even harder on them because it makes a sign to the public, hey, we don't let our officers do this. But you don't see that happening. Instead, you see it like, oh, it's the brothers in blue against the rest, which is
it's not right. That's not right in my opinion. There's two, in my opinion, kind of go off on what you're saying. Like Blue Lives Matter and the thin blue line, like to me, those aren't the same thing. They might be the same.
What's the thin blue line?
The thin blue line is basically the line between like chaos and like, I don't even know what the other word is. I don't really.
Is that a police term?
It's like, yeah.
Okay.
I don't really follow a lot of these like mainstream like things and all that. I just know a little bit about them. But like the thin blue line is like this line between like, not like police and society, in my opinion, but it's more like chaos and like
structure.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So it's not like Blue Lives Matter is like the opposite of like Black Lives Matter, so to say. You know what I mean?
That's like how the media pits it, though.
And I could be completely wrong because this is just my opinion.
Yeah,
on,
that's
like,
all this is. It's our opinions
of the thin blue line versus like Blue Lives Matter. Because all lives matter.
Yeah.
And I say that like that for a whole lot of different reasons.
Yeah. No, I get that. I get that. The police thing is, for me personally, it's a tough subject because I know several police officers who I respect and admire, and granted, I've never been arrested by them, so I don't know how they handle it, but I know them as people, and I know that they're very good people. But how do I explain to everybody else who sees these police officers in the media abusing their rights and not being punished appropriately? And how do I explain it to myself? That's where I'm like, God, I don't know where I fall.
How do you think that makes me feel, though, as an actual
cop,
too,
so
know?
That's another question. How is it being a cop in today's climate? Two parts to that question. One, you said you notice people in your own department, perhaps, who are the not-so-good cops. How are you supposed to handle working with somebody who makes you look bad because of the things they do?
It's very, very difficult.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
It's extremely difficult. I wish I had a good answer for that. I'll say this. It all comes down to structure, leadership from the top all the way down to the bottom. If you don't have a good top, structure-wise.
Like sergeant, or what's the top?
In my department, it goes officer, corporal, sergeant, lieutenant, chief.
So chief's the top.
Yeah, okay. Exactly. And I'm not saying that I haven't been a chief at all.
No,
but and this goes for all departments. And it's not just the police department itself. It's a city. It's a city council. It's the mayor. It's a safety commission. So much more that goes involved in all these things.
Oh yeah.
And I don't even know half of it. I don't understand half of it. I don't know half of it. That might be my own fault. But besides that fact, the safety commission as well as the city council are also there and in charge of discipline. Mm-hmm. It's not just the police department. For big things, obviously. For big policy and big liability issues. And when you have a city council and safety commission that absolutely loves somebody and the rest of the department absolutely hates them, there's not much you're going to be able to do.
Yeah.
Because it's a corrupt city.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily the department, it's the city. So it's more than just the actual police department sometimes.
Yeah. But they're the ones that get the attention.
Exactly.
So so that's, I guess, leads me back to the question of how do you feel being a police officer right now in today's climate? Because I feel like normally, traditionally, if you think of what a police officer stands for, it's supposed to be a very prideful job. Like,
Absolutely.
I'm proud of what I do, and it's good if you can still say that. But my question is, can you still say that? Not because obviously it sounds like you're a good cop, you handle yourself well,
Thank you.
but all of from what I know, right?
Absolutely.
But from today's climate, all the pressure that's put on you, how are you, like, if, let's say I'm somebody that fucking hates cops, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're having this talk. How do you get me to empathize with what you do, I suppose?
Just by being me. Changing one mind at a time. I can't change everyone's perspective,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't change everyone's perspective on everyone else. All I can do is that one interaction between me and you.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless if we're talking in a podcast, regardless if I'm talking to a suspect, a victim, a witness, anybody. That's the only way that I can personally change opinions.
So that sounds like you kind of want to, because I was saying this on the podcast that was just released with AC about how to just be, like, how to fix things in society is kind of start from the ground up, is how you interact with people daily.
Yeah.
And then maybe if it works its way up, we can bring in the top and start changing some real shit with policies.
Yeah.
So is that kind of your approach?
Absolutely. I mean, that's what's been successful for me in my whole year is I could sit here and, like, let's say you were anti-police and all that, and tell you all these good stories about stuff that I did and stuff like that. That's good and all, but, like, what's the interaction between me and you when you call me because I'm the last person that, like, I'm the police.
Mm-hmm.
You call me when you absolutely need something.
Mm-hmm.
And then how is our interaction then when I'm actually in uniform, all suited up, that badge on, that power, those decisions, my city, our city? That's when I think it becomes a different perspective.
Yeah.
Because I could sit here and tell you all the crazy things, all the good things, all the bad things, and those are just stories.
Yeah.
But that interaction, when you're on duty, so to say, and talking with that suspect that just beat the crap out of his girlfriend or boyfriend or anything like that, changes everything.
I mean, I'll be the first one to say it. I could never be a cop, or there's a lot of different jobs I couldn't be. Police officer is one of them, and I'll tell you why. I definitely would try to stand with justice, right? Mm-hmm. But if I walked in on someone who beat their wife or beat their kids or killed their kid, I swear to God, I would shoot him on the spot, which I know isn't the right way to do it.
But
which is why I'm not going to be a cop,
mm-hmm.
because I would not be a good one. But I'm so torn on the cop thing. I really am. It's a tough time to be one, mm-hmm. I'd assume.
And especially during COVID, it flips things even more on its head.
Mm-hmm. Why is that? People are just more hostile?
Less people out, more domestic violence inside.
That makes sense, actually.
And that's one of the biggest things that my city deals with is domestic violence. But to go back to what you're saying, I get that from a lot of people. And I wish I knew how I'm able to do like that, so to say.
Is any of that in the training? Like, you need to keep a level head?
Of course. But once you're actually, and you have scenarios in the academy, and you have all that stuff, but, like, when you actually walk in on someone that's, like, I mean, I've never had this, but a neighboring department has had a call where the guy is actively stabbing his girlfriend, and they had to kick the door in, and whatever else they saw, probably unbelievable, and had to shoot the dude. Well, I guess that's kind of a bad example because they had to shoot him, but, like, in a different perspective, like, go to something like that and witness certain things and see certain things and just, like, take the dude to jail and, like, bullshit with it basically the whole time.
Yeah, well, and that's another thing where I can see the opposite side of what I just said is,
mm-hmm.
I don't know if I heard this story from a personal friend of mine who's a cop or if I watched a video, because I search the internet all the time for videos, and it was kind of like through, like, being a cop through a cop's perspective. And one of the stories was we got a domestic call from this girl saying that she was being beat by her husband. You need to come here, blah, 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 blah. They show up. The girl answers the door. Guess who's right behind the door? Shoots the cop right in the fucking face. So it's like, and the girl was in on it. So you don't know what you're going into. You know, it might sound like, okay, I'm just going to go rescue this girl, whatever. And then you get there and she's part of the scheme and you're fucked. So it's like, I don't know how I'd react during that. So to expect cops, or not even cops, humans who are a police officer to handle that in a situation that is perfect, I don't think that's fair to the person in that situation.
I think you put that right. Humans that are cops.
Yeah.
Because you can be trained, but you're still human at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And there's something that I'll add on to that I've thought about a lot that I've had to deal with. And that makes me think almost every call is an ambush just because I have to think about those kind of things. Mm-hmm. We got a call for a female caller said that she heard a pop in her ex-boyfriend, husband's room. They were just roommates. They just didn't work well dating. She thinks he shot himself, right? So we're going there, flying there. I'm the first one on scene. I get in there, and he's laying on the ground, and I'm looking for a bullet hole, and I'm looking for the gun at the same time. So I finally am able to, I still didn't see a bullet hole until another officer got there for me to flip him over, because I just wasn't able to. And I'm sitting there looking at him on the ground. There's a dresser back here, and I still can't find this gun that is supposedly a thing. This guy's not moving, so something's off. She finally tells me that the gun's right by the dresser. Okay, cool. But while I'm down here looking at this guy, looking for a gun, she could have grabbed that gun and just shot me in the head, and he could have just woke up. Mm-hmm. I think about that all the time.
Yeah, you don't know what you're walking into, so...
No, because I didn't see the gun. Walking in, it was hiding underneath a bag. I didn't see it at all. It's fully loaded.
Yeah.
And turned out he did end up taking his own life and all that. But
which is another thing that's difficult.
Absolutely.
Something like that's got to weigh on you mentally, right? How do you I know you've only been at this for a year, but I couldn't imagine if I consistently walked in on trauma, how does that not affect me seeing that? I know some people are more sensitive to that than others, but that's another thing I think about. It's just the whole cop thing is you see both sides of, okay, the people who abuse it, they're not punished, fuck them. Yeah. But then the human aspect of, dude, I'm trying my best, I want to help you. We don't, well, I shouldn't say we. From what I see in media, we don't think about that as much. It's I'm not saying all cops are good, and I'm not saying all cops are bad. I'm just saying I don't know where the fuck I lie. I see both sides.
Yeah, and I'm right there with you, though, on that.
Yeah.
But you are right, though. A lot of that trauma is hard for somebody, and I go to therapy weekly, and most of the time we don't even talk about anything like that. It's just someone to talk to, someone to vent to, just someone just bounce ideas off of. Because I'm really into psychology, and I use his master's in psychology mostly to understand the behaviors that I deal with every day, and it's basically a learning tool for me. I used to use it to vent about all my little issues and stuff like that, but now I use it as a tool to better understand the people that I deal with, and why would this person feel this way. I think I've been on 2 suicides. The one guy that I was just talking about, I've never had to deal with before. We still don't technically know if it's a suicide or not. Maybe she did it, maybe she didn't. We don't know.
Was that pretty recent then?
Within a year, of course, but sometime during the summer. I can't remember exactly. And then we had another one, a guy that I've dealt with one time that just shot himself in the head. I don't know. I didn't know he had mental issues. Apparently he had a drug issue and mental issues. The older cops that I work with have got calls of him running around parking lots naked, high on whatever. So obviously he's had some past issues, and whatever led him up to that day to do it. But it's also weird because he used a 22. 22's a lot of hitmen and stuff like that use, because all it does is bounce around. It doesn't come out because it's power enough to come in. It's not power enough to come out.
So does it cause? Is this just more painful?
Yeah, it just causes more damage. Yeah. But anyways, we do, I don't know if you know what a petition is, a mental health petition.
Okay, elaborate a little bit.
So even though we're cops, we're still mandatory reporters. We go to a call, a suicidal person. Let's just say it's nothing crazy suicidal. It's hey, I'm hearing voices. We get there, the voices are telling me to kill myself, kill other people. Okay, that's emergency protective custody at that point. We're calling the ambulance, we're taking you down to the hospital. We're filling out a mental health petition, which is to be evaluated by a social worker. We do that a lot. And from what I've been told by older cops, there's a lot of petitioning, and then you see them end up killing themselves. Well, there's one kid in particular, he's like 20 years old, so he's not that much younger than us or older or whatever, that I keep having to petition. And I feel so bad for this kid because he's got so many monsters in his head, and he sees things, he hears things, and last time I dealt with him, we got called there because he wanted to try suicide by cop. He wanted to burn himself alive and all these.
So he just asked you if you could kill him?
Like, he said he was considering these things. Not necessarily that he was going to do it, but like this, well, the voices were telling him.
And he called you guys?
Yes. That's a lot of people want to go do suicide by cop.
Oh, fuck.
I know. And it's crazy. And I knew the kid wasn't going to do it, thank God. But besides that point, it's not really the people that end up dying that bother me, which sounds kind of like terrible. It's more the people that like struggle with it every single day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like once they're gone, that sounds so terrible, but there's no more that suffering. But that's what we're trying to prevent, though.
Yeah.
And it's kind of tying to another subject. I think most people that commit crimes have mental health issues.
That's what I was going to ask you. Do you think there's some type of relation between
100%.
mental health issues or disorders and crimes?
100%. I don't know how there cannot be. How can you murder somebody and not have an issue? Some type of mental health issue.
That's the thing, and I don't know either. I know, I guess I don't know, because I've never committed a crime like that. Like, I might have stolen Skittles one day.
Right, but that's...
something like that. Who knows? Not confessing. But, like, if somebody, like, steals... Let's say somebody jumps me and steals me, as if I have money to steal, right?
Right.
Now, maybe they don't have a mental disorder. Maybe they're really fucking struggling at home and they just need something to get by.
Absolutely.
Not saying they're justified in doing that, but is that necessarily is that necessarily a mental disorder? As opposed to the guy who shot up the whole school. That's obviously, you're fucking sick in the head.
Yeah, and I think there's two different, like, ends to that. Like, I think, like, and I don't like the whole mental health, mental illness, like, category, so to say, because what do we call it when we break a leg or, like, have diabetes and stuff like that? Like, you have a disorder, you have a physical disorder, but, like, we don't call it, like, body illness, you know what I mean, or whatever. You have diabetes. Like, someone that suffers from a mental illness, they just suffer from anxiety, depression, personality disorder, dissociative identity, all these different things. That person's struggling, so they jump you to get whatever you may or may not have on you, thinks for some reason that that's right. Whether they're diagnosed or not diagnosed with some mental disorder, they still have that mental problem. I don't know, actually. That's a difficult question.
Because
you kind of got me there.
Well, and I'm not trying to get you. I'm just saying,
I think
I would assume that a lot of people who commit crimes do have mental disorders, but I think a lot of them also just have, like, I think a lot of people who will commit crimes will have guilt for committing those crimes. And I think if you have guilt, that shows you have, like, feelings.
Yeah.
So I think that might, and if you're in that category, you might not have a mental illness. You just might be between a rock and a tough. Wow, I just fucked up that analogy. You might be in a tough spot.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's the outlandish crimes, like, you know, double murder or shit like that. Have you ever had to go on a call where somebody murdered somebody but claimed it was self-defense?
I have never personally been on the call.
That's good.
Another shift has been on that call, though.
How would you determine that? That's what I don't understand.
That's way above my pay grade. That's all I gotta say. I've never worked scenes like that, unfortunately. Oh, fortunately.
Fortunately.
Yeah, fortunately.
Yeah, I hear it.
Yeah, I've never worked a homicide scene. I've worked the suicide scenes, obviously. Yeah, it's tough. But we did have someone recently shoot their boyfriend and claim self-defense. And actually, the dad was in on it, too, and hid evidence and the weapons and stuff like that. And
so it wasn't self-defense?
No.
Okay.
But if you live in Wayne County, you get away with pretty much anything.
Well,
fun fact. But no, I think you're on a good point of a rock and a hard place. Drunk
said it much better than I did.
Drunk drivers, for example. I've done so many drunk drivers, and I had one dude doing like 90 miles an hour in a 30, right?
Yeah, you're gonna get caught. Buddy.
Chasing him, and he's in the wrong lane of traffic, weaving in and out, and this kind of stuff, and he's just a dude from Livonia. Shouldn't be in a downriver community, for one. I don't know what he was doing there, and he was just having a rough time. He was just having a rough time. That rock and a hard place again.
Yeah.
And like I was pissed off when I first pulled him over. I had him at gunpoint and everything. Cause I'm like, what the hell are you doing? You know?
Because you said you had to chase him?
Yeah, I had to chase him.
Yeah.
So of course I had him at gunpoint, ripped him out of the not ripped him out of the car, bigger than me. But anyways, took him out of the car, and then you get to talking to these people. And I think that's a difference between some cops and me. I look at the human aspect of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you put all these people in jeopardy, and of course he's upset. He's going to get his first OWI. It's not a DUI in Michigan, it's OWI. But I also had to remind him that, like, you could have killed somebody or yourself while you were doing this. You
Mm-hmm.
are also lucky in the aspect that I caught you. Yeah, you're going to be arrested for a few hours, and then you're going to get out when you're sober. That's it. Then you're going to have a court date. Then you might go to jail, probably not in Wayne County.
But it'll be on your record.
Yeah, for 7 years.
Yeah,
And
but that's a
it.
lot better consequence than killing somebody.
Absolutely.
Or killing yourself.
Regardless. Yeah. It still sucks, though, being arrested, 100%.
Yeah.
And I could have cussed him out, yelled at him, this, that, and the other. But once you start talking to people and hearing people's stories, that's what affects me, is the stories and, like, humanizing the badge, humanizing drunk drivers, humanizing everyone. Regardless of what they do, I try to humanize them and try to understand why they did what they did. This guy, for instance, he said that he had a bad night because he was helping a buddy talk his mom down from, like, killing herself, basically. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay, I could understand why you had, like, got shit-faced, basically, and you're on your way to work now because you forgot.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, you still shouldn't be doing this, though.
Yeah.
You should be leaving it up to people like me. I know that sounds... And some people don't want to deal with, like, the cops when they're feeling that way, but, or call the cops thinking they, like, can just go help their friend, which is fine and all, but sometimes you need that extra step.
Yeah, you can be responsible in the way you handle situations like that, but I like what you said about humanizing whoever it be in whatever situation, whether it be the badge, other people. If you're wrong, and it's especially hard to humanize somebody if what happened was you were wronged by them. Like if somebody fucks me over, the first thing I want to do is take that emotion and pivot it back to them.
Absolutely, which is normal, a normal human behavior.
Yeah, but if you figure out why they did those things, again, this might be a hot take, a lot of people probably disagree. I don't think anybody's inherently wants to, like, fuck you over.
Yeah.
If they do fuck you over, I think it's either because they heard something that you fucked them over, or they're hurt by something you did. I don't think... I'm not just going to walk up to somebody and, like, fucking punch them in the face for no reason.
Normal people wouldn't do that.
Yeah. But if I did punch a random stranger, why am I so mad when I'm going to punch a random stranger? There's probably a reason. Not saying that people who do things that wrong others should just get a free pass, but that kind of goes back to, like, what we were saying before we started recording, was cancel culture of before you react in a way that you're not going to be proud of, take a fucking pause.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Think about it for a minute. There's a point I wanted to play off of what you just said. Now I can't remember what it is.
I gotta love when that happens.
So, no matter the crime, I try to just talk to them like they're human beings, because after all, they're human beings at the end of the day. They messed up. I'll crack jokes. I'll talk with them. It doesn't matter to me. I had one dude cussing me the hell out, calling me everything you want. I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't really care. You're going to jail regardless. You got a warrant.
Yeah, you're only making it worse for yourself.
All right, like, I really don't care. It doesn't bother me one bit. And we get in the car, and he's still, I'm going to sue you, and you're going to sue this, and blah, blah, blah. And then we get to, like, halfway to the jail, and he's sitting there. So did you hear about the fight? I'm like, are you talking to me? He just started talking to me like it's all normal.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked him why. He goes, because you didn't react. Because you just talked to me like I'm a human being. Some
people want reaction.
Yeah,
or they expect that you have one, so they're just already playing that card.
Absolutely. And I've just learned there's certain people you're never going to get through. Mm-hmm. You're just never going to get through. It doesn't matter what you do or what you say. You yell at them, you're calm, you're cool. But I've learned to treat them basically like I'm treating you. Just talk to them. Like, I have to get aggressive with them sometimes, whether that's physical or verbal. But then at the end, when I'm taking them to jail, I'll be cool with them the whole entire way. I'll tell them, man, you're cool with me the whole time. We get up to the desk, them cuffs are coming off. Like, we'll just chill out, we'll talk, we'll fill out this paperwork, and, like, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's been really successful for me. Really successful for me, regardless of the call, regardless of the people. I don't have personally to kind of play on like a different little bit of a different topic, like Black Lives Matter versus like All Lives Matter. Personally, in my experience, I've had more issues with white people calling me racist than black people, which blew my mind after having a year on this job. Absolutely blew my mind because I'm of the opinion that there is an issue between law enforcement and the black community. How is there not?
Mm-hmm.
Because if we look at all the things that law enforcement in the black community and 20, 10, 5, 30 years ago, even
like just
longer,
the history of it.
Yeah, we've had a shitty relationship with the entire community.
Mm-hmm.
We still have work to do. A lot. I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah.
But we have work to do as law enforcement to make it known. Yeah, we're making it known that we're not trying to be the enemy, but there's still people out there that are the enemy. And that's my opinion on it, and why I try to change everyone's opinion just by talking to them. But it doesn't. What pisses me off is the white people calling me racist.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like...
Well, before even knowing you, just because you're a cop.
But the white people will call me racist. Oh, are you going to kill me because I'm black? And it's white people that are saying this. Or are you going to kill my black friend and stuff like that? And I'm like, you don't even have the issue. Mm-hmm. You're not even the one with the issue. Why? Mm-hmm. That's just something I wanted to include because it's something that I don't know if other people deal with, but it's something that I've dealt with personally over the year of being a cop. And it does not make sense to me.
No, and I could see it I could see it happening for one of two reasons. One, they want to be seen as a good person for caring about an issue that they're not directly involved in.
Absolutely.
Which I don't think is always the case. But
yeah.
Some people are shallow and they want that clout, so to say. And then there's people who really think it's an issue and they want to be a part of the solution. But I would say to those people, yelling at somebody before knowing their motives is not the part of the solution. And I hate speaking my personal opinions on the whole police brutality and the issues between the police and black community because I don't know. I'm not qualified to fucking speak on it. I'm really not. That's what I kind of like to hear from cops, from the black community, from anybody who might have more of an education on it than myself. Yeah. But that's a tough topic because even if there wasn't an issue based on statistics between the black community and cops, there's an issue based on feelings.
Absolutely. Because
I'll tell you, I've never felt scared being pulled over. Ever. I don't know if anyone else has. I can't speak for anybody else, but I have never.
And I've been told that I've been told that they do get, not they, but people, I guess, of maybe the black community or different races, cultures, whatever, do get nervous when the police pull up next to them and stuff like that. And that's, again, where on that traffic stop and that person happens to be black. I'll just bullshit with them like they're anybody else. I don't care.
Because they are anybody else.
Exactly. There's absolutely... I just don't get it. I personally do not feel more threatened because they're a black person, like some people may say, or a white person. I just personally don't.
Or a person of color.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't...
I honestly fucking hate the label of race because to me, again, believe it, what I'm saying, or not believe it, I don't care. Mm-hmm. I don't give a fuck what color you are, what your sexual orientation is, what you stand for, as long as it's not like you're a Nazi. And you want
exactly.
Like, within reason.
For sure.
But I get why we have to label things because we want equal rights, and it's not always that case. But I hate it because I don't understand why that exists. Why do we have all these issues between different classes, rich, poor, race, gender? Like, fuck off, dude. Like, if there's an issue, fuck off. We're all human.
Exactly.
So just talking about that, honestly, I don't know what I can really add to that conversation. It just really pisses me off.
And I agree with you because I get why, like in my job specifically, we have to have categories for statistics and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't just put out, be on the lookout for a male.
Yeah.
Like, okay, is he light skinned? Is he dark skinned? Like, I need a little bit more.
Does he have blue hair?
Exactly. I need a little bit. So in that aspect, I get the labeling.
Yeah.
Then again, call it labeling if you want, call it whatever you want. But and like general terms, why do we have to call like each other white and black and Asian and Arabic and Hispanic?
Again, it's a way to divide.
Well,
but it's a way to okay, who am I looking for again? Who was I talking to? It's a way to remember people, but it's so fucked because I'd rather like, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't want to add anything on here because I don't know what the fuck to say. It's just
I don't know either. But
pisses me off that there's people who actually hate or treat somebody differently because they're different from them.
I just don't get it. I don't get it. I try to learn from all those people. That's my whole goal in life, is to learn from people and to better understand who they are and why they are the way they are.
Yeah, and I would agree. I would love to get somebody on here who completely disagrees with what I just said, because I would have questions. Because I don't think, again, well, fuck, I don't know.
It's such a weird topic, though.
I feel like if you treat somebody differently, you're going to really have to fucking make me understand that, because I don't get it. Like, I really don't.
Like, what makes that particular person treat everyone or a group of people differently? Like, I will add this, that I am very cautious of everyone because of my job.
Yeah.
Because people, there are cop killers out there and stuff like that. And of my family and stuff like that. But that doesn't mean that I have to present that. And that also doesn't mean that I'm being fake up front either, though.
No.
It's a way of me, it's a survival thing, so to say, because of the job. But that doesn't mean that I can just stop being who I am. Because I've been this way and who I am for a long time. I'm not changing it while I'm on scene, because it's helped me. And people relate to just casual conversation and just talking to people.
Yeah, and I think what you said kind of brings in the idea of like bias and like prejudice and stereotypes. But at the same time, we're human; those are going to exist. But it's leaving those stereotypes or bias at the table.
Absolutely.
For example, like with me, whether black, white, Mexican, anywhere, if you're like in the hood and you're dressed like you might be causing a scene, like just you're not well put together, like you maybe you're dirty and like. You don't look like you're up to good. I'm going to assume, or I'm going to make that bias of, oh, this could be a thug. This person could have a gun on him. But and again, I guess that's an extreme example because I don't really have very many interactions with people like that. Well, I should say that. When I was in Detroit, homeless people or people walking the streets, I'm not going to fucking quiver in fear because they could have a gun. It's like, I checked that because my human instinct was like, oh, could they have it?
Yeah.
But you have to leave that bias there and then react accordingly. And I think that's the issue. Everyone wants to change bias and change prejudice. You can't. That's human nature. You can change in how quickly you bring that prejudice and bias up and how you respond to people. That's my belief.
You have to be able to recognize that you have a bias and recognize that this is a thing. Keep that to the side because some of those things are useful information. Some of those things are your survival instincts at the same time. Maybe not some of the ones that society's taught us, but to keep those at bay, recognize that, okay, this is a bias that I have, and continue. I'll tell you another story of a psychology professor I had. She's like, her life is about biases.
Bias?
Whatever.
Say that.
Yeah, and she teaches about it all the time. And her daughter wanted to go get a tattoo or a piercing at like 16. So she took her to the tattoo piercing place, whatever. She started seeing people with tattoos, and she started creating these biases, and like thoughts and stuff like that. And she got so mad. I don't remember the entire story, but I remember she got mad at herself because she's like, "I teach about this stuff. I know about this stuff. I literally go to people and tell them about this stuff, and yet I still had some." Yeah. And that just shows you that like their thing, they're gonna happen. Like you said, you're just not gonna make them just go away.
Yeah.
But you have to be able to recognize that there's an issue, I have a bias, how do I deal with this?
And so not even to an extreme extent, like with people being dangerous, but here's the example. In high school, two of my like best friends now, I originally thought they were douchebags. Why did I think that? Maybe it was jealousy, maybe it was like looking from afar, I'm like, this guy just presents himself like a douchebag. Yeah. And I'll name drop him because they're my best friends. Jeremy, he was on episode 2. Before I knew him, something about him I don't fucking like.
Yeah.
Had no reason for that at all. One of my other best friends, Matt Freed, thought he was a douche.
Okay.
No fucking reason besides for the fact, maybe it's because they were bigger than me and I was always a small guy. I'm just like, yo, fuck these guys. You have one conversation with, again, if I wouldn't have checked my bias, I never would have talked to him.
Exactly.
But I'm not going to treat them as though they're a douchebag because they never actually did anything to me, ever.
Right.
And now look what happened. They're two of my best friends. And same thing outside of high school. Like there was always some kids, like me being a smaller guy, I thought there was a lot of like kids who they were really big, like really into lifting. Like, oh, that guy is like not scary, but like he's probably a douche just because he has the power to beat everybody's ass.
Yeah.
So I think like I shouldn't even talk to him.
Exactly.
And then I see him at the gym now that I'm older, and like they'll dap me up. I'm like, dude, I didn't even know you fucking knew my name. Like,
yeah. They're like the coolest people sometimes you ever talk to.
That's the point. So Jeremy, Freed, I told you this already. Don't be surprised. Two of my best friends, right?
Yeah.
Both super nice, wholesome guys.
Mm-hmm.
But the point I'm trying to make is, as humans, we make these fucking assumptions that literally have no basis for them.
Yeah.
And if we followed those assumptions, we'd be way worse off. But if we just check those and then treated people with an open mind, more often than not, I think it's going to go well for us. And it has for me.
But I think you're absolutely right. And I'll relate that to the police academy for me. Like, I'm a small dude, too. I'm a really small dude. And, like, I never thought in the academy that, like, I would gain the respect of, like, all the other... Because all the other guys were giant, of course. But once I, again, just started talking to them, like, we're all just being me, basically.
Yeah.
We all still talk to this day, like, a year plus later. And the encouragement and stuff like that certain friends that you don't think will be your friends turn out to be, like, the most encouraging people that you ever meet.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my perspective to that.
I think 9 times out of 10, and you can disagree with me if you're listening, or you can disagree with me because we're 10. I think 9 times out of 10, if you show somebody your full self, well, yeah, if you're candid with somebody and like you're not trying to be someone that you're not, I think usually it'll go well. Maybe you won't become the best friends, but they're not going to treat you like shit. Like if I came to you and was like, oh, like, you know, if I was acting, for one, I think you'd be able to tell, unless I was a really good actor.
Yeah.
But on top of that, like if I just came to you and like treated you like a normal fucking person, we might never talk again. But you're like, oh, that guy was cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
And somebody asks like, oh, what do you think about Seth? I mean, I only had like one interaction with him, but he's fucking cool.
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to be like every single person you meet has to form some type of deep connecting relationship.
Right.
But if you just fucking, and it's so cliche to say, and it sounds a lot harder than it is, but dude, just fucking be yourself. And I mean,
you have to.
I don't know.
You have to live a purpose-driven life, and you have to live the life that you want to live, regardless of what it is. As long as it's like ethical and legal and like within
reason.
Yeah, like you have to live this life of what you want to do, because you never know when that time comes. Young or old, did you accomplish what you wanted to accomplish? Who knows? Maybe I'll be a cop for another year and find something else I want to do. I did what I wanted to do. I'm on to the next thing. I don't know what's for the future, but I think that as long as you live a life that makes you happy, what's wrong with that?
Yeah, as long as it's not.
Absolutely.
Within reason, guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're not condoning anybody going out there just killing people because it makes them happy. And if it does make you happy, you're a goddamn fucking psycho.
Yeah, we need to get you to the hospital, probably.
Yeah.
But
so, anyway, we can pivot if you want. I know one of the other things, I don't know if you want to talk about it or if we want to cap it here, was high school. I know I kind of brought up high school. Mm-hmm. Is it good memories? Is it bad memories? What specifically about high school did you want to touch on?
Freshman year, of course, sucked. I think freshman year sucked for about
just
everyone.
Awkward stage.
Yeah.
Very awkward stage.
I never really had issues in high school. Like, the whole, like, bullying thing, like, I don't think I ever allowed it to happen because I was a small dude. I kind of talked to, like, really everyone and anybody. Like, I was a bitch in high school. Like, I was a complete asshole. I didn't care about anybody or anything or what anybody had to say or anything. I care much more now than I ever did then. So, I never really dealt with a lot of things in high school. I just kind of went there and did my thing and left. Like, talked to whoever would talk to me, and I never really had an issue.
Kind of heads down mentality?
Yeah, like, I just never really had issues. Like, even people that, I can't even think of a specific, like, time that, like, probably tried to bully me, I was like, okay, cool, what? Now
the
what?
Stone face?
Yeah, like, I did not care. I did not care
See, that's interesting. I feel like in high school, I gave so now I care what people think of my character because I don't want to be like some asshole.
Absolutely.
But like, if you want to make fun of me, or whatever, I just never bullied. I'm not gonna say. I mean, I was picked on for being short, whatever. Don't care. That never bothered me.
Yeah.
I'm short, 5'10", 5'11" on a good day. But like in high school, I was super concerned with like my appearance, and I think it was because like I went through puberty late, and like all my friends didn't, and so it's like I wanted to be like what's the word? I wanted to be like hot. Like,
yeah.
I wanted people to be like, oh yeah, that guy's hot. It's like I was always like, oh, that guy's cute. He's a fucking little shrimp guy over there. which is so weird because now I don't give a fuck what you
Yeah.
think of my appearance. I really don't. It's more about my character. So it's weird how things shift like that because
It is.
before, like I was never like a dickhead in high school. I was usually, and correct me if I'm wrong. If I was a dickhead to you, tell me. I hope I wasn't.
I never thought you were.
That's good. That's a check. But point being, like, I wasn't. My primary focus wasn't to be super nice to everybody.
Yeah.
I wasn't bullying, and I wasn't over accepting. I was just kind of whatever because I was so concerned about my image
Exactly.
on the exterior. As where now it's like I don't care about that. I'm more about okay. Let's make you like me as a person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's weird how those opinions shift.
And it's also weird how, I hate to put this, like I feel like you were obviously a lot more popular than I was in high school. But, like, it's weird to see, like, and, like, humanize, like, the popular people to have, like, that issue and stuff like that. Because, like, you see, I hate saying the popular people, but, like, the popular people never having, like, those issues. But then, like, in reality, again, everyone's just human.
Well, I mean,
you know?
To take that further, the rich people, right? Like, you see the people that are rich, like, how could they have fucking issues? If I had some money, I'd be fine. But they might have something that's way more fucked up. You never know.
Exactly.
So it's interesting. I don't know. I don't want to compare fucking who is more popular. I don't know,
but like you kind of see what I'm saying though. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I talked to everyone in high school, but like, I didn't have the same friend group. Obviously, like we didn't have the same friend group.
No.
This is just how it
we did.
turned out.
It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, here we are. What, 5 years later? 6 years almost. Like who would ever thought?
Yeah,
but yeah.
I mean, that's the cool thing about the internet, right? You can use it to abuse shit, but you can also use it to reconnect with people
and make good.
That's the thing I like.
Absolutely.
So, I guess with that, thank you for coming.
No problem.
Before I go, one thing I always like to do is ask people something that they do that helps them accomplish good mental health, helps them brings them happiness. So if you have a tip that you'd like to share, I would love to hear it.
I kind of mentioned earlier, therapy has helped me through a lot. I don't think without therapy I would have become a cop because it gave me the confidence. And also finding what makes you happy. I kind of did touch on that a little bit. Whether it's religion, your sexual orientation, the school, your career, anything. What makes you happy? What do you see yourself aligning with? Like one big thing that bothers me is religion. Not to get into like a lot, but everyone is born a certain way, and that their views have to be this way.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make you happy? Yes or no? I don't know. If it doesn't, why are you still following something that doesn't make sense to you and that's not happy?
Why are you trying to change to fit that mold?
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you fit this, try that out. If it doesn't fit, try another one. This is your life. You got X amount of years on it. Meditating also helped me out too.
Yeah, you don't gotta smile. That's. I mean, you look like you're a little bit embarrassed about that.
No,
don't, dude. Meditating is
it's amazing.
Badass.
It is, and I stopped like a year ago, and I just can't get back in the rhythm. But that was one of the best times. Is just sitting there for the 10, 20, 30 minutes and just nothing, just chilling.
It helps, dude. It gives your mind a fucking break and your body. So that's a good tip. So again, thank you. If you're hearing this, special surprise, out of all of the songs of the week, there is now a playlist. I will share the links for the Apple Music link and the Spotify link of all the songs of the week, as well as the runners-up for the songs of the week. Also, if you want to be a guest on this podcast, please message me on Instagram at TIMMPodcast or send me an email at timmpod@gmail.com. I don't know the email very well, so bear with me. Anyway, guys, thank you, Grant. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Until next week, guys.